Last week, I saw a post comparing FIFA 17 with FC 26. Two clips with over 10 years of difference, and the question was simple. How does a game from 2016 have better animations, better lighting, and better ball control than the game we have today? And there's simply no answer for that. A franchise that sold over 325 million copies over the world, that had years where it was the most played game on the planet, ended up in a state where its own fans are abandoning it in masses. Content creators who lived off the game dropped everything. FIFA was the game I played the most in my entire life. Since FIFA 9 playing career mode, pro clubs, or seasons, FIFA was always a special game for me, and it still is to this day. And that's exactly why it hurts to see what happened to it. Ultimate Team turned into a casino disguised as a game, and you open packs and rewards and don't feel any emotion anymore. Career mode is basically the same, abandoned since 2012. Yeah, that menu has existed for over a decade and still hasn't been updated. The meta became a joke, because to win, you don't need to know how to play football anymore. You basically just need to know which play style and which broken move is the meta. And what makes all of this even more crazy is that EA has practically no competition. They own the football niche, and there's no pressure from anyone, and they still manage to deliver a poorly made game. But what I want to make clear before anything else is that FIFA's decline wasn't bad luck, and believe it or not, EA knew exactly what they were doing because every decision that destroyed this game was made on purpose. And in this video, we're going to see each one of those decisions, from where Ultimate Team came from, and how it became the only thing that matters to EA, to why career mode was abandoned and how the game lost any connection to real football. And to understand how we got here, we need to go back to the beginning. In 1993, EA closed a deal with FIFA and launched FIFA International Soccer, which for the time was a landmark, with a pitch in isometric view like a TV broadcast, and things that back then were impressive like crowd sounds and weather differences that changed the match conditions. But in the following years, the franchise kept getting repetitive with annual releases, always the same thing with the same mechanics. Seems like EA always had a pattern. And that's when Konami took advantage of the space, because Winning 11 came along and later became PES. And if you watch my video about PES, you know that for a long time, anyone who wanted a real football game played PES. FIFA was the game you bought because it had the real team names, and that's it. And if you didn't care about that, you didn't even consider FIFA. And that lasted many years since PES was far superior, both in gameplay and in quality. Then came FIFA 9, and here things started to change, because the gameplay improved for real. For the first time in a long time, Pro Clubs was born, a mode where each person controls a player they created inside an online team. And that to this day is genuinely fun. And in that same game, almost hidden in the menu, something appeared that very few people paid attention to at the time. The concept was simple. You build a team using football player cards, open packs to try to get better players, and play against other people online using that team. It seemed like just another experimental mode, a new idea thrown in there to see what would happen, but EA knew exactly what they had in their hands. And from that point on, FIFA was never the same again, except this time, unlike everything that came before, it wasn't for the better. The original idea was brilliant, and no football game had ever done this before, because you basically collect cards of real players, open packs to try to pull the best ones, and use those cards to build a team and play online, and things that would never happen in real football. And of course, the better your team got, the more you wanted to improve it. So you'd spend hours building the perfect team, testing combinations, and looking up players from leagues you'd never even heard of, just because they fit your formation. And of course, packs already existed back then, which at the time was an experience, and gave you a feeling that's hard to explain to anyone who's never played. And that's exactly what made Ultimate Team explode, because FIFA 13, 14, and especially 15 and 16 were the golden years. The mode grew in an absurd way. YouTubers started making videos just of pack opening, and they'd reach millions of views. Pack opening became a content genre, and many content creators built entire careers on top of it. Fut Draft arrived in FIFA 16 and became another hit, and the idea was simple. You paid an entry fee, built a team with random high-level cards the game offered you, and tried to win as many consecutive matches as possible. The more you won, the better the reward at the end. And it created another entire genre of content on YouTube. And everyone who played Ultimate Team back then had to do at least one draft. And what a lot of people forget when they talk about that era is that FIFA was a genuinely complete game. Ultimate Team, career mode, pro clubs, online seasons, everything worked. Everything had people playing. Everything received attention. Of course, that doesn't mean the game was perfect, but you'd get into the game, everything received attention. But this is where the story starts to change direction. Because while the community was living the golden era, EA was looking at all of that and seeing something completely different. And when a company discovers it has a gold mine in its hands, priorities change very fast. Ultimate Team and FIFA 9 generated something EA didn't expect. People weren't just playing. They were spending. And when EA saw the numbers, everything changed. The model was perfect from a financial point of view because you buy the game at full price, then inside the game you need coins to buy players on the market, but coins you earn by playing matches. And the amount you earn per match is so insignificant that it's clear from the start that the game wasn't made for you to grind coins by playing. The game was made for you to buy FIFA points with real money, convert them into packs, and hope something good comes out. And the problem is that packs are based on luck. You can spend $50 on packs and get absolutely nothing useful. You can spend $500 and get the same thing. There's no guarantee whatsoever. They started creating events every week with new cards to make you want to open more packs, and special cards better than the normal ones to make the ones you already had obsolete in weeks. That's the famous power curve. Then came FIFA 18, and here's something started that we only understood properly later, because EA changed the game's graphics engine. In theory, it was supposed to be an evolution with better visuals, smoother animations, and a new generation of FIFA. But in reality, this FIFA ended up being remembered as the first game in a long sequence of many where we had a very well-defined meta. For those of you who don't know, meta is basically the most efficient strategy or mechanic in the game at any given moment. And in FIFA 18, the meta was very clear. Low-driven shots. Low-driven shots in FIFA 18 were basically a guaranteed way to score goals. It was simply unstoppable. And to execute it, you had to press the shoot button twice, which later became the time shot command. And of course, I can't forget about the El Tornado, which started as a promotional campaign by EA themselves. They even made a commercial about the move. But in practice, it was an extremely broken mechanic that gave an absurd advantage to anyone who knew how to use it. And EA took months to do anything about it. And that was the first sign of a habit that became tradition. Because from then on, every FIFA was remembered not for something good it brought, but for the main bug of that edition. Who doesn't remember the Trivela shot in FC 25? Or the time shot in FIFA 20? Or the first time shot in FIFA 19? Which was the game where things really went downhill. That game had a lot of changes compared to 18. Maybe it's the one that evolved the most technically from one to the other in the franchise's history. It had everything to be a really good game, but in the same way that 18 had broken mechanics, FIFA 19 managed to surpass it. Mainly because of the creation of the time shot and the first time shot from outside the box. Because as soon as the game launched, the community realized those mechanics were broken, and the first meta of the game quickly emerged. You could simply take first time shots from outside the box from any angle possible and impossible. From the front, from the side, from behind. All you had to do was nail the time shot, and the chance of scoring was almost 100%. Just like with 18, they took more than 4 months to fix this bug. But even after they fixed it, they discovered the new meta, which was simply crosses to the far post, where your player would jump extremely high. Even more so if before the cross you lifted the ball with a skill move, and it was simply absurd and impossible to defend. But while the game's quality was plummeting, Ultimate Team kept growing, with more events, more cards, and more packs. Just to give you an idea, the revenue generated by FIFA 19 alone surpassed $786 million. And the more money Ultimate Team generated, the less EA needed to worry about the rest, especially career mode. Career mode was basically frozen in time, over a decade without any real evolution. You take FIFA from 2012 and today's, and the experience is essentially the same thing. Same menus, same interface, same feeling. Of course, during these almost 15 years, they added some cutscenes and content, but don't even come at me with that, because anyone who plays the game knows that deep down, it's been the same thing since 2012. And career mode had, and still has, massive potential. But the game still has the same menu, the same feeling of a mode that nobody at EA actually cares about developing. And I say this exactly because I know career mode has a huge potential, and not because the mode is bad. I just think EA could do so much with it. Like a Master League similar to what the old PES games used to have, you know? Pro clubs went down the same path. One of the most fun things FIFA ever had. And it kept getting more and more forgotten as the years went by. Online seasons, I'm not even going to comment on. Poor thing. And then there was the journey. FIFA 17 brought a story mode with its own character, well-produced cutscenes, a real narrative inside the game, which for me, honestly, is the best thing FIFA ever had. And if you guys want, I can make a video dedicated just to that mode. But of course, EA simply decided not to continue with anything like it. And after FIFA 19, the mode simply never came back. It makes sense from a business point of view, because developing a story mode takes time, investment, a dedicated team, and with Ultimate Team growing the way it was growing, it's natural that the efforts would be directed there. But for those who played, the feeling was that the game was shrinking. Every year, one less mode receiving attention. Every year, Ultimate Team taking up more space, and EA stuffing the mode with so much stuff, so poorly made and so poorly balanced that the game lost any resemblance to real football. FIFA was always more arcade than a real simulation game. and that was never a secret. But even being arcade, it still felt like football. And you felt like you were playing football, even if it wasn't 100% realistic. There was an essence there that made the game work. I had talked about the broken metas that each FIFA had. And yeah, each one of those bugs was annoying as hell. But at least until FIFA 23, they were isolated bugs, specific mechanics that were broken. The core of the game was still football. Then came FC 24, and EA introduced PlayStyles. And from then on, FIFA stopped being about football. But in the beginning, the idea actually made sense, because basically each player receives special abilities based on real-life characteristics. Remember that, real-life characteristics. So it's normal that Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, has a playstyle for heading, power shot, or finesse shot. But what happened was that some playstyles were absurdly superior to others, and then the entire game started revolving around which players had the right playstyles plus. It didn't matter if the player was good in real life, it didn't matter what the card's overall was. If he didn't have the right playstyles, he was useless. And the meta became extremely ridiculous, because to win an FC 24 and FC 25, you don't need to know how to play football. You need to know which playstyle is the most broken at the moment, and which is the most broken move of the update. Honestly, I can't call this a football simulator. Before, at least you could play casual. You could turn on FIFA on the weekend, play some online matches, chill, and have fun. Today, if you don't know all the most broken mechanics, all the right play styles, and the broken formations, simply don't win. The casual player was completely pushed out of the game. And that's why FC 24 and 25 ended up being remembered as the worst FIFA in history. Exactly because those playstyles broke whatever sense of balance the game still had. EA took an idea that could have been good, and executed it in the worst possible way. And if you think they stopped there, FC 26 managed to be even worse. But also, hold on, because FC 26 actually started well. In the first weeks, the game was genuinely good. The gameplay was balanced, responsive, and the matches had a real football feeling. EA had promised a more manual game in the trailer, and for a moment it seemed like they had delivered. A lot of people, including me, were excited for the first time in years. It was the best FIFA we had played in a long time. Then came the first update. 2 weeks after launch. The game that was manual became more assisted than any other. The auto-defending came back full force, body feints became spam, and they came back as the playstyle meta. Everything that was working, everything that was making the game good, was destroyed in one update. And from there, it only got worse. Because it wasn't just gameplay problems. EA managed to break the entire logic of Ultimate Team. And it all starts with evolutions. I'm gonna be honest, I like Evos, and the idea is cool. You take any player and evolve them over time, boosting their attributes, adding playstyles, improving the card. It's a mechanic that gives you a sense of progress, of building something from scratch. And the best part is, anyone can do it without spending money. You guys can see my team right there. I have a bunch of Evos. But the problem was that EA didn't know how to balance it. Because what happened was that evolutions became so strong, they broke everything around them. You take a bronze player from China that nobody's ever heard of, do the full evolution, and at the end, he has 5-star skills, 5-star weak foot, 99 in almost everything. A player that doesn't exist in real football becomes the best in the game. Just for comparison, let's compare Messi TOTS with this random Indian player. And it's worth remembering that Messi is one of the best players in history, with the best card from the event. And he's 4-star skills and 5-star weak foot, inferior to the bronze Indian who's 5-star skills, meaning in-game, the Indian can do an elastico, has better playstyles, and is probably better than Messi. And today, a blue card shows up in a pack, and you don't even react, because the chance of it being trash is huge. And even if a good card comes, you probably already have a better Evo in your team. And SBCs? Same thing. Cards that before would make everyone lose their minds, costing 400, 500, 800,000 coins. And none of them are worth it, because the Evo of a random player you do for free is superior to all of them. Not to mention the transfer market is practically dead, because no card has any value anymore. Take Claudia Pina, for example, a card that costs about 2,000 coins. She comes with 4-star skills, 5-star weak foot, with playstyles like tiki-taka, triangle, low-driven plus. Now take Ronaldinho, one of the greatest players in football history, a guy who literally passed the ball without looking. He doesn't have tiki-taka, doesn't have triangle, doesn't have rapid, doesn't make sense. And it's not about Claudia Pina as a person. She's for sure a great player. The problem is that inside the game, with those playstyles, she becomes one of the best cards in all of Ultimate Team. Better than icons, better than football legends. But I have to be honest and say that this FC 26 isn't as bad as the 25 and the 24, which for a lot of people, including me, was the worst FIFA in history. The meta was Trivela from any angle and speed boost. You weren't playing football, you were just spamming Trivela and running. The game had the highest abandonment rate in the franchise's history. A lot of people didn't even buy it, and those who did dropped it very fast. EA's stock started dropping because of the fallout from FC 25. It was such a big bomb that for the first time in a long time, EA seemed to care. And then came FC 26. And I'm gonna be fair, FC 26 is not the worst FIFA that ever existed, but it's also not the best. Like I said before, the first weeks were genuinely good, but after the first update, the game changed completely. And even so, unlike FC 25, the 26 doesn't have a meta that dirty. It doesn't have that Trivela from anywhere and speed boost that made the game unplayable. On that front, it improved. What makes me sad is knowing that EA owns the football niche and has no real competition. They could do literally anything. They could truly innovate. Imagine an open world mode inside FIFA, where you create your player, walk around a city, enter futsal courts, evolve and keep climbing until you reach professional level. The football niche is huge. The possibilities are endless, but EA chooses to deliver the bare minimum every year and charge $80 for it. And for me, the path to improve isn't that complicated. Remove the playstyles, balance the evos, take the game back to a simpler base where what matters is knowing how to play football and not memorizing which mechanic is broken this week. Give attention to career mode, to pro clubs, to the modes people loved and that were abandoned. And it's weird because we complain, we curse, we vent, but deep down, everyone who's complaining is complaining because they love the game, even though the game is unhealthy. Nobody wastes time talking badly about a game they don't care about. We talk because we remember what FIFA used to be. Remember what it was like to open a pack and have your heart race. Remember what it was like to play a match and genuinely have fun, even when losing. And today you turn on the game and it's one mode, poorly balanced, full of broken mechanics, with packs that give you nothing, and with the constant feeling that you're playing a casino pretending to be football. But after everything I said in this video, I need to be fair. Because EA messed up a lot, but they also got things right that we can't ignore, like the inclusion of the Libertadores. Journey is still the best thing FIFA ever made, and the concept of Evos, which, for anyone who's free to play, is amazing. And being honest, FC 26 improved a lot compared to what the 24 and 25 were. It's not perfect, far from it, but it improved. And that's exactly why I made this video. It wasn't just to complain about FIFA. It was because I'm a fan of this game, and FIFA was the game I played the most in my life, and it's still special to me to this day. Even with all of this, even with everything EA did. But I'm not going to lie and say I have hope that it'll get much better, because EA promises every year, and every year it's the same speech about how they listen to the community and how the next one will be different. FC 26 promised manual gameplay, and it lasted 2 weeks. So when the next trailer drops full of pretty promises, remember this video. And if this video brought back any good memories for you, leave a comment telling me which FIFA marked you the most. And if you enjoyed this video, you'll also enjoy the video where I tell the story of how Konami killed Pez.